The echoes of Blackwood Path. The rhythmic thud of our sneakers against the asphalt was usually a comfort, a steady pulse in the quietude of our late night runs. Jay, ever the fitness fanatic, had convinced me to explore the Blackwood Path, a shortcut through the dense woods that promised to add a few extra miles to our routine. Our neighborhood, normally a haven of well-lit streets and quiet homes, seemed to morph into something else entirely as we ventured into the shadowed embrace of the trees. The path, narrow and uneven, snaked through the thick undergrowth, the beam of our headlamps cutting weak swaths through the oppressive darkness. At first, the rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of crickets were the only sounds. But then a subtle shift occurred. A distinct, echoing rhythm began to accompany our own. Footsteps, precise and deliberate, shadowed our every move. We'd quicken our pace, and they'd quicken too. We'd slow to a jog, and they'd match our stride. Yet, when we dared to glance back, the path remained empty, swallowed by the inky blackness. A prickle of unease settled over us. We emerged onto the dirt road that led to the farms. The darkness here even more profound, the trees forming a claustrophobic canopy overhead. It was then that I saw it, a flicker of movement, a dark silhouette dissolving into the dense foliage to our left. I gasped, my voice catching in my throat. Jay, ever the skeptic, dismissed it as shadows playing tricks on my eyes, but the seed of dread had been planted. As we pressed on, the silence grew heavier, the air thick with an unseen presence. Then, a rustling behind us, closer this time, just 20 feet away. We spun around, our headlamps illuminating a figure standing in the middle of the road. He was a grotesque tableau of shadows and tattered clothing, a black hoodie obscuring his features, ripped khaki pants hanging loosely, and black shoes caked in mud. And then he laughed. A cackling, high-pitched sound that clawed at our sanity, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the woods. He turned, his face a pale, gaunt mask in the dim light, his eyes wide and burning with an unholy intensity. It was a gaze that froze us to the spot, a stare that promised something unspeakable. The instinct to flee, primal and raw, took over. We sprinted, our lungs burning, our legs screaming in protest, the maniacal laughter of the figure ringing in our ears, a relentless pursuit that stretched for 2 agonizing miles. We burst through my back door, slamming it shut, locking every bolt, every window, the garage doors groaning as they descended. We collapsed, panting, our bodies trembling. The image of that pale face and the sound of that laughter burned into our minds, a chilling testament to the terror lurking in the shadows of Blackwood Path. We vowed then and there we would never run those nighttime paths again.
Story 2.
The Silent Butcher of Hollow Creek. The old Colts commune, its weathered buildings standing like skeletal fingers against the twilight sky, cast long, eerie shadows across Hollow Creek. It was a place whispered about in hushed tones, a place my parents warned me to avoid. But I, a high school runner with a penchant for solitude, found a strange allure in its desolation. Plus, Mrs. Gable paid $10 a run to tire out her hyperactive puppy, Izzy. It was an easy gig, or so I thought. One evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of blood orange and bruised purple, Izzy and I ventured deeper into the woods than usual. The air grew thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, and an unnatural silence settled over the landscape. Izzy, usually a bundle of boundless energy, suddenly froze, her ears twitching, a low whimper escaping her throat. Following her gaze, I saw him. A figure half hidden behind the gnarled trunk of an ancient oak, his face obscured by the shadow of a low-pulled hat. He was watching us, his eyes fixed on me with an unsettling intensity. I tried to shake off the unease, telling myself he was just a hiker, a lost soul wandering the woods. But something about his stillness, his silent observation, sent a shiver down my spine. As we continued, Izzy stopped again, her body rigid, her tail tucked between her legs. He had moved, closer this time, standing at the edge of the tree line, his head tilted slightly, as if studying me, dissecting my every move. Then, without warning, he lunged. He burst from the shadows, a blur of motion, a gleaming butcher cleaver clutched in his hand. A scream caught in my throat, a raw, primal fear that sent adrenaline surging through my veins. I turned and ran, Izzy straining at her leash, her frantic barks echoing through the silent woods. He was relentless, his footsteps pounding behind us, his pace matching mine with an unnerving ease. It wasn't his speed that terrified me. It was the silence. He made no sound, no panting, no labored breathing, only the rhythmic thud of his boots against the earth. It was as if he were a ghost, a phantom hunter, propelled by some dark, unholy force. We reached the edge of the neighborhood, the scattered houses offering a sliver of hope. I darted between them, zigzagging through yards, desperate to lose him. Finally, I found a hiding place behind a shed, my lungs burning, my legs trembling. When I dared to look back, he was there, standing on the hill, the cleaver dangling from his hand, his chest rising and falling as if he had run too. But his face was blank, devoid of emotion, his eyes empty and cold. He simply stared, a silent, chilling sentinel. Then, as a car's headlights pierced the darkness, he turned and vanished into the woods, leaving me trembling in the shadows. I never told anyone what I saw that night. I took the long way home, avoiding the woods, pretending nothing had happened. But the image of his silent, relentless pursuit, the gleam of the cleaver in the fading light, was etched into my memory. A chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked in the heart of Hollow Creek. And I vowed I would never run that path again.
Story 3.
The shadow of the suburban stalker. My childhood home, nestled in the quiet embrace of suburban tranquility, was a facade. Beyond the manicured lawns and the gentle hum of neighborhood life, a darkness lurked, a shadow that stretched across years, weaving a tapestry of fear. It began subtly, an unease that settled in my bones, a sense that something was watching, waiting. I was 9, my brother 7, when the first encounter occurred. We were walking our dogs, carefree and oblivious, when a white SUV pulled up beside us. A man, his face obscured by the shadow of the window, beckoned us closer, his voice a honeyed whisper that sent a shiver down my spine. My brother, innocent and trusting, took a step toward the vehicle, but I, a child already burdened with a sense of dread, pulled him back. I'd heard the stories, the chilling tales of children lured into vans, never to be seen again. As we walked away, the SUV turned and sped off, leaving a trail of unease in its wake. A year later, the darkness returned, more brazen, more menacing. Halloween, a night of innocent revelry, was tainted by fear. A black sedan, its license plates missing, stalked trick-or-treaters, its engine roaring, its intent clear. It tried to run down a parent, a chilling act of aggression that sent ripples of terror through the neighborhood. The adults whispered about it, their voices hushed and fearful, and I was subjected to yet another lecture about the dangers of strangers. The murder of Hannah Graham, a local tragedy, hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the evil that lurked in the shadows. Years passed, but the unease remained, a constant undercurrent in my life. In the summer of 2018, while pet sitting for neighbors, I encountered the black sedan again. It was parked in the driveway, its presence a stark anomaly in the quiet, moonlit night. I felt a chill, a sense of being watched, and I retreated into the darkness of the woods, a primal instinct guiding me away from the unseen danger. Then came the quarantine, a period of isolation that amplified the fear, turning my daily runs into a terrifying game of cat and mouse. A white SUV, the same model as the one from my childhood, began to follow me, its presence a constant, looming threat. It was a slow, deliberate stalking, a chilling reminder that the darkness had not gone away. It had simply bided its time. On the 11th day, the game escalated. The black sedan, the one from my pet sitting days, reappeared, its presence a suffocating weight. And then I saw it, a silhouette huddled beneath the car, a figure hiding in the shadows. I was trapped, pinned between the two vehicles, the predators closing in. The man emerged from the SUV, his face a mask of predatory intent, and gave chase. My years of running, my training, became a desperate lifeline, a means of escape from the clutches of the suburban stalker. He yelled for me to come back, to talk, but his words were empty, a hollow echo of the darkness that consumed him. I fled, my heart pounding, my breath ragged, the image of his face burned into my memory. The pieces fell into place, the years of seemingly disparate events coalescing into a chilling pattern. The man from my childhood, the driver of the SUV, the stalker in the shadows, they were all the same. He had been watching, waiting for years, preying on the innocence of the children in my neighborhood. The realization sent a wave of terror through me, a chilling understanding of the evil that had been lurking in the shadows of my suburban sanctuary. And I knew, with a certainty, that chilled me to the bone that he would be back.